Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look!
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Dr. Homebrew. What are you guys talking about? I don't know. We got a little technical difficulties here, as usual. This seems like the show. I don't listen to the other shows, only the shows that I'm on, and it sounds like this is the only show that we just have a ton of technical difficulties. And I'm not trying to say that it's my fault. Rather, I'm blaming everybody else in this room.
You mean they break it and leave it for you to fix?
Well, you know, I don't know. Maybe. That's probably true. I have to figure out everything, what's going on. I don't know what feed everyone's hearing on the live thing, and this whole nonsense is going on.
I don't know either. Well, I hear you now.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever, people deal with it. I'll fix it at the break or something like that.
Thanks for playing the intro extra long, though. That was cool.
Yeah.
That music just gets me going. It gets me so pumped.
Good.
I want more Ozzy.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We're on live. This is Dr. Homebrew, everybody. Welcome to the studio, Brian and Lee.
Hi.
Howdy.
The other voices you may have heard. One is John. He's going to be here on this show talking about some beers. And then we also have a special guest judge, Warren Bullops.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Warren. Warren brews at Heretic. How do you say it?
Heretic?
Heretic. I think it's Heretic Brewing Company. No, our good friends at Heretic Brewing out in Fairfield. You know, our friends Jamil and Chris, and now Warren Billups. Beardy, if you don't
Jamil, one of the evil three, isn't he?
Right.
He's one of them.
He's one of them, that's for sure. We have a good show for you. Despite the rough start, the rough and cloudy start, we have some good stuff planned for you. But first, before we do anything else, I want to get on to 5 Star Chemicals, our lovely sponsors. 5starchemicals.com. They own this show, you see. So whatever they want us to do, we're going to do. And what they want us to do is give everybody's addresses that have been on the show to 5 Star, so the 5 Star can send them out, not bullets with their names on them, lift on the porch, as some people will do. Actually, packages of PBW and Star San and really nice 5 Star chemicals. So check out everything that 5 Star has over at 5starchemicals.com. If you ever used Star San or heard people talk about PBW or cleaning in general, they're usually talking about 5 Star products. At least for me, cleaning products in home brewing synonymous with 5 Star products. You can't clean and sanitize in one fell swoop. You have to do each individually if you want to, even ever have a shot at making good homebrew.
We need some Star San and PBW to clean out these plastic glasses that we got here.
Yeah, you think so? Well, I think we have some downstairs.
They smell like death.
If you were smart enough, you would have brought your own glass like I did, Brian.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
I'm definitely on the 5 Star though.
Regimen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on 5 Star.
Oh, You're on it.
Ryan
He's been huffing.
Star San again, yeah.
It'll be fine.
Right.
He'll be
Well,
fine.
they sent him one of those packs of white powder and left it on his front porch. What do you think he did with it?
I use Star San to blend back all my beers with.
Hey, don't laugh. We have a homebrewer that won the Sam Adams competition with Star San in his beer.
It'll you can't detect it. Not even BJCP judges.
Award-winning sanitization.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
right. We also have a new how do you call it segment on the show by another sponsor, Grog Tag. If you guys have been fans of the show for any number of months, you've been hearing us talk all about Grog Tag. They are customizable, reusable beer, wine labels. They also do metal signs. They do keg labels, and they do all sorts of fun stuff. And you can go and you can customize and create your very own labels online. Check them out, grogtag.com. You can upload your own images. You can upload your own images into existing templates. It's pretty cool. And think of them like a reusable sticker. You can actually peel them off and save them for your next batch. They also do bottle caps that kind of work into the same theme. So they are. This is going to be a good segment. They are giving us $40 gift certificate to give away on the show, and their tagline is "At least your beer will look good." Okay, which is kind of snarky and kind of fits in with the Brewing Network, fairly well. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if at the end of the show we've traditionally had 2 beers. Each beer has 2 scores, right? The lowest scoring beer will get a $40 gift certificate to make their beer look good on grogtag.com.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because at least
So
their
is
beer should look good.
Is this going to
Right.
be the lowest individual score or the lowest average score?
I can help there.
Good point. I feel like it should be the average score.
Average score.
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
So, we haven't had a lot of sub 30 beers really. So, they kind of wanted to have fun with that fact too, that there's not a lot of terrible homebrew out in the world, and so it's just kind of like
Yeah.
We're encouraging them to send it in now.
We get a,
Send in something that really
Yeah.
sucks, and you can win $40 at Grog Tag.
Right.
yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Now you've
more
really got
likely-
your work cut out for you.
We'll get a 45 and a 43, and we'll send the 43 home with the at least your beer will look good.
Right. Yeah, they'll be fine. And it's it's all in good fun, and the
That's
folks
cool.
at Grog Tag want you to put the fun back in homebrewing, really.
I think our listeners will get the spirit of that.
I think so too. It's
Had
not
it been lost?
Well, it's not all about scores and winning NHC, especially after everyone got booted at NHC, except for a couple handsome people in this room that I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we're just putting a little fun back in it.
Right.
It's not
For
all
all
about
the other
scores.
people that didn't make it.
right?
Right. To get
As
those
far
Grog
as some
Tags ready.
people in this room.
Yeah. Anyway, we got a good show. We have Greg on the. He's going to be Skyping in, so cross your fingers for the Skype nonsense. He has an American Pale Ale, and then John, you have a Kolsch, right?
I do have a Kolsch.
All right. So we are going to, I guess, do that. I think we farted around. I'm a little brain fried. I've been in jury duty all day.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's so much fun. Just down the street.
Did you get to hang anybody yet?
Not yet. All day yesterday, I had to drive to. So I live in North Concord, and I had to drive all the way to Richmond. And for those of you obviously not in the area, you have to pass through Martinez and go to Richmond. It took me about an hour to get there, and I spent a couple hours, and then they go, "Okay, we don't need you anymore, but Martinez needs you. They need judges, so you're to report to Martinez." Really? So spent 5 hours in Martinez. Had to come
Judges?
back today, and
Listed you as a judge.
yeah, I know,
Okay,
right?
Here's your homebrew. Oh, wait. Wrong show.
Wrong judge. And I got put on a stupid jury.
Oh, man.
So-
Should have stayed in Richmond. No,
Yeah,
I'm
which
staying
no
in
one's ever
Richmond.
said that before. I'm staying
Yeah.
in Richmond.
You finally get your license back, and you get to drive between Richmond and Martinez.
It's terrible.
That says a lot about the jury pool in Martinez in
Right.
Concord that
Yeah.
you would make
Me.
it on the jury.
Right. So that's my whole thing.
Not
So-
a lot of good things, but it says a lot.
Right, right. Yeah, it says a lot about the judicial system. But it should be a short trial, so, whatever.
The guy's guilty. We all know it.
Yeah, they go, do you think he's guilty just because he's been incarcerated? No. Because at some point you have to go, well, personally, yeah. Right? But legally, no, it's innocent until proven guilty, and that's what we're here to do. And that was... I actually argued with a lawyer today.
Well, it could have been like on some like minor marijuana charge or something where you're stuck in jail for something stupid.
Right, something. It wasn't something dumb. Well, I don't know. We haven't gotten all the details, but it was just I don't know. The lawyer gave some dumb example about theft, and I'm like, but if you steal it, it's stolen. Doesn't matter what the cause, or doesn't matter what you wanted to do with it. You took it.
Juror number 7, did you discuss the details of this case on live beer radio? Did you really?
No details. No details.
Does that mean I have to give back that 3D printed hop grenade I stole earlier?
Yes.
Shoot.
Okay, let's take a break,
Onward,
everybody, and then when we come back, we're going to have Greg on the phone. We're going to take his American Pale Ale apart and put it back together. I don't know. I haven't had it, so I'm assuming it's awesome. And then... we'll move on from there. It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Hang tight.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
Hey, Wooly, I'm beat. Can we find a nice tree to just hang out in for a while?
You're beat. I've been swinging through this forest for 50 years, ever since we first escaped from the circus. I know, but there's got to be more to life than exploring this creek and trying to populate the valley by copulating with loose, hairy girls.
Marquis, stop. Look!
What is that?
It looks like a man-made treehouse.
With fresh food.
And craft beer.
Welcome to the Creek Monkey Tap House, boys. Grab a seat. Creek Monkeys drink free.
Awesome!
The Creek Monkey Tap House in Martinez, California takes their mission of fresh food and beer seriously. They only serve locally raised beef and chicken, as well as local sustainable produce. It's better for you and the planet, and it just tastes better. The beer and wine at Creek Monkey Tap House are chosen with the same care for the highest quality and rotate frequently to make each visit an adventure. Swing on into the Creek Monkey Tap House and enjoy a new legend of amazing food, beer, and wine. The Creek Monkey Tap House, online at creekmonkey.com.
Come along now. It's time for your medication.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, welcome back. It's Dr. Homebrew, and on the line we have Greg. Correct, Greg?
Wow.
Greg, are you calling yourself?
We're dialing Greg.
I love the Skypiness.
Greg, are you there?
Hello?
Hello, Greg.
What's up?
Yeah, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
Where are you calling from, man?
I am calling from East Longmeadow, Massachusetts.
Oh. I grew up right around there. I didn't, really.
So did I.
Thanks for hanging out and staying up with us, man. I
It's
appreciate
almost 12 o'clock there. It's 11:39.
Yeah, more importantly, thanks for sending some beer.
Why, thank you.
So
I'm
how long?
glad What?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was cutting.
No, never mind. No, I'm kind of, half asleep here.
Yeah. Are you more like half drunk over there?
No, I wish I was. But
well, I just wanted to get into a little bit of your homebrew history. How long have you been homebrewing?
I've been brewing for about 5 years, or just about, I guess.
Okay. And all grain or extract?
All grain.
All right. How long have you been doing all grain for?
Just about 5 years.
Oh, wow. You just jump right into all grain?
Yeah, I did like 1 or 2 batches of extract, and I just decided to go take the plunge.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you hadn't done any extract at all?
Pretty much. I only did 1 or 2 batches of extract. And went right into all grain.
You're a better man than I am, man.
Oh, you haven't lived until you've done extract.
Right. It's really great. You know what? I've had to make a couple big starters. Saturday is National Homebrew Day, and so I'm making 50 gallons of beer, and I'm making this giant step-up starter in a carboy, and I've been adding extract to just plain water that hasn't had any grains in it. Man, I used to think when I was doing extract, oh yeah, that stuff it'll just melt by the time it gets to the no.
No.
It stays in a thick, nasty ribbon and globules on the bottom of the kettle. It's really interesting. I've never really poured extract into just plain water before.
You never stirred it?
Well, I stirred it.
Oh.
But even stirring it.
Oh, really?
It was just really it was just really interesting to see it was just moving. It wasn't dissolving as rapidly as I thought it was.
And you're talking about liquid versus dry, right?
Right, yeah.
It's like one of those boats with the see-through bottoms. You don't know there's like alligators and crazy things swimming under you.
Yeah.
Until you see oh, crap.
That's why I don't swim. Yeah. All right, let's get into Greg's beer. Brian, since you were the last person to talk to me, you go first.
Well, okay. So we got an American Pale Ale here. It had a really nice, bright, hoppy aroma. It had these really perfumey and floral hops up front in it, and very fruity. There's tons of esters in this beer, just apple pear and some orange, and it's like a fruit punch extravaganza here. The malt is really only very lightly caramelly and just kind of supporting in there, which is fine. It could be, you could have a little more of that caramelly note in there to balance the hops, but it worked pretty well as it was in the aroma. No baddies, DMS or DAS still really. But it's just a combination of these kind of oddly citrusy hops that are in there and fruit from the esters. Just really big presentation in the nose. So color is nice. It has kind of a bright orangey gold color with a fairly good clarity. The head is white. It starts pretty medium at a medium level and goes down slowly, but sticks around pretty well. In the flavor, it's just again kind of with the odd citrusy hops. There's a bit of a fruit punch presentation, or kind of juicy fruit, I guess you could call it sometimes, like the juicy fruit gum.
The taste will move you, dude.
There's so much fruitiness going on here. The malt is kind of base malt, a little grainy, light caramel, and just supporting. But one of the things about this beer, that the finish is kind of medium, and it's a bit worty, I guess you could say, tasting. It has a little bit of sweetness in it, a little more than you would want for this beer. For a pale ale, it should be crisp and refreshing and kind of semi-dry, and it doesn't quite get there. But it seems like a fairly clean ale fermentation. There's a little hint of some alcohols in there. But the flavor's pretty good. The bitterness was kind of low, I thought, but it had most elements you want for a pale ale. Just a little bit odd in the balance. So the mouthfeel, it was kind of medium bodied. It seemed a little heavy for the style. Not astringent or harsh or anything really bad going on. It's smooth and clean, but there was a little bit of alcohol warmth in the mouthfeel as well. You could feel it in your throat, but in the medium carbonation, as you'd expect, just a little high and big for the style. A little bit of creaminess, not bad. But yeah, the aroma really had some good promise, and it seems like there's some really interesting hop choices going on in here. I'd like to know what hops you used, but we'll get into that. It just was a little bit out of balance, a little too full, and not quite refreshing enough like you want your pale ales to be. To fix that, I would just watch your ferment temps and pitch plenty of okay, healthy yeast, and that'll keep that higher alcohol from coming up and the warmth. If it started big, you could also dial the overall strength back a little bit, but it'll also dry out the finish and have it be a little more refreshing too. But and you can play around with hops all you want, but I mean the hops that you put in here are interesting enough to keep it, a unique American Pale Ale. So I give it a 31. I liked the beer; it's pretty good.
All right, Lee.
Well, I'd not to go into too much detail here. I pretty much back up most of what Brian said. I had some really nice flavors and aromas, good citrusy hops, nice malt character that had a little bit of some kind of seemed like some kind of low lava bond kind of crystal to give it a little bit of interest. Some nice esters. I thought all that was fine. The ferment seemed pretty clean. I did pick up a little bit of heat when they suggested it. I didn't actually get that on my own, but that's okay. But I would reiterate, the only thing I thought was really off about this was the balance. It was malt versus bittering is too malty. Malt versus hop flavors and aroma, could have used some more hops. So I think really it's just the balance issue. All the flavors you got in there I think are really killer and good for a pale ale. It's a little shy of being very, very nice. Mm-hmm. But I think you would need to do something to bring the sweetness and the richness of the beer down a bit. So maybe a lower mash temperature, less character malt if you use more than, say, 10%. Make sure you got a good healthy yeast pitch, although it doesn't really taste like it's an under-fermented sort of thing here. Most likely just bring the mash temp down, maybe throttle back a bit in the crystal malt. And if that doesn't do it entirely, raise up the bittering. These don't need to be big adjustments to get you to where you need to go, I think, but it does need some fixing in that direction. I actually kind of liked it as is. I gave it a 36. But I think it really could use that sort of a shift, and then you might actually get a really killer pale ale out of this, I think.
One comment that you also made, Lee, when we were talking about the beer earlier, is you said it. A lot of APAs will go too far down the territory of being a light IPA, and that's not what this style is about. This seems to capture and embody the style. Elements
went the opposite direction.
Kind of the other direction, like you said. Yeah.
You mix that with one of those real common sort of half IPA pale ales, and you'd probably be perfect.
Yeah, you get a lot of those out back east there, Greg.
What was
those kind of? I imagine the guys are alluding to like those so-called session IPAs, right? That are
pale ales that are just over hopped to the point where they taste like an IPA.
Not really. The beers around, like the local breweries around here, they tend to be kind of tame and I guess nothing really. They kind of hold back on the hops around here, I guess.
Can I make an assumption or I don't know, classify your comment and maybe say that they make beer style beers?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because out here, man, everyone, whatever. It's all everything for marketing.
More hops.
More hops.
Well,
put the word IPA on it, and it'll sell.
I'm just waiting for them to grind up hop pellets and put them in pepper shakers at everybody's table in a brew pub these days. You just add more to your beer.
Well, we've got the eyedropper hops now that just came out.
Right.
Well, let's see. Our microbrewery's making a brown ale, like a nice or an English mild. What do you think it needs? I think it needs more hops. Let's just bitter it like an IPA and pump up the hops.
And call it a English mild IPA. And people will buy
session mild PA.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear that the Beast Coast has some good things going on for it. I don't know, whatever. All right, we are running a little bit out of time for this segment, so I'm going to skip the guest judges and go right to Greg and see if Greg has any questions for the two lads here.
No, you guys kind of pretty much, all I really wanted was general feedback of what my beer was like and what I needed to do to kind of dial it in a little better.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about the recipe a little bit? What hops did you use and what was the malt bill?
All right. The hops that I used, my bittering I used Bravo. And then for my flavors additions, I used the mix of Citra, Seven Seas, and Cascade.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got that tropical fruit punch thing going on there. So that's Citra and that's cool.
And then the grain bill is pretty much just a pound of it was 3/4 of a pound of Crystal 15, half pound of white wheat, and 11 pounds of two-row.
That's a really light crystal to use.
Is that for 5? gallons?
For 5 gallons?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was your starting and terminal gravity on that guy?
It was came in at 1054. Or let me double check my notes here.
How much wheat did he say was in there?
Half pound?
Yeah, half pound. Yeah, it came in at 1054 for my original gravity, and it finished at like 114.
Yeah.
That kind of adds up.
That's why it's so sweet. Yeah. You probably need to bring that down.
I want to get it down to 11 or 10.
Yeah. And then the yeast strain that I used was there's one of the local homebrew suppliers. He's starting to try to kick off a yeast company called New England Yeast, and he told me to check it out. So I tried it.
Cool.
So it was a different yeast strain that I wasn't used to, and
could be where those extra esters are coming from.
Yeah, it seems to be producing a lot of esters. It's a bouquet of floral and fruity fun.
What did you think of the new yeast?
It was all right. It took forever for it to flocculate. Like, I mean, I got a ton of yeast bite for a couple weeks until, it kind of settled out. But it seemed to, like, fermentation started, like, overnight. Like, I mean, like 12, 14 hours, and we were ready. We were going.
Do you have temperature control?
I do. I mean, I use my my kegerator when I don't have anything going kind of there. Yeah. So, and, I'm sure I get a decent ambient temperature, but I don't think I can dial it in, too well, I guess.
Yeah.
We have a question from the chat. Obsessed Brewing wants to know how Greg would have brought down his final gravity.
So, like Lee said, you could bring down the mash temp on the beer. And also, I mean, it sounds like you made sure you're pitching plenty of yeast. It might be a yeast selection issue in this case because you're using an experimental yeast. You don't know how far it's going to ferment down. And you want a yeast with a proven track record of just being able to drive it down into the ranges you want for this style, which is, going to be pretty, fairly dry. And pitch enough of it, keep it happy.
Yeah, that lower mash. What you use for mash temperature on this?
151.
That shouldn't be leaving a particular amount of sweetness.
Right.
You can try and drop it a bit. Rouse that yeast. Make sure it doesn't settle out too soon, although it doesn't sound like that was an issue.
Oxygenate plenty.
Plenty. Yeah, there was a couple of us picked up a little bit of heat in there, so it might have been a bit warm for the yeast that you were using. Hard to say.
Didn't rush it on the finish, right? You didn't take it off before it was done.
No, I waited, good 7-10 days
for all that powdery yeast to settle out.
Yeah. Were you taking readings before you're pulling?
No.
So sometimes you can get, especially with a different yeast strain, you can get a little bit of lag on that, and it may take longer than 7, 8, 9, 10, 2 weeks sometimes.
Yeah.
Let it do its job. Don't rush it.
Blobber wants to know how much crystal was in the recipe.
3/4 pound.
3/4 pound.
And of
That's not terribly
the crystal 15.
That was like about 8% of that recipe, I think.
Yeah, it's a good amount. You could try a 20 or even a 30. Use a little less, but get a little more caramelly character in there. Or blend some 15 and some 30 or something. Yeah.
Well, the original plan was to use a Crystal 40, but my local homebrew shop didn't have any in stock, so kind of chose to go a little lighter than a little darker.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Good
Maybe
call.
throttle it back to 5% instead of 8%.
Yeah,
that'll
work.
take a little of the residuals out of it.
Has the right color, and the hops shine over the top of that nicely. It's
I mean, you could look at this as a totally localized recipe, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I got the materials I had, I got the yeast that I was able to get, and I created a very localized, interesting beer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, brewing, kind of brewing on demand. Meeting the challenges on the brew day.
Yeah.
All right, Greg. If that's it, if there's nothing else, we're going to let you go.
No, that's it, man. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah,
thanks again, man. Yeah,
cheers,
thanks
brother.
for sending beer in.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
Cheers.
Yep. Bye.
Greg seemed nice. He did seem very sleepy. I didn't realize he was in Massachusetts. Yeah. And I'm like, you're going to be up around 8? Yeah, sure, I'll be up.
I think they're all kind of sleepy out there.
Yeah, that's probably true. in Massachusetts. All right, let's take a break, and we come back. We're going to work on John's Kolsch and hear from our guest, Judge Warren Billups.
Still here.
Warren Billups, still here. That's a good album. That's a good album name.
Present.
Like for your first album. Your debut album, Warren Billups. Still here.
Like a Warren Zevon album name.
Releasing this summer.
Right. All right. It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Stay tuned. Hey, guys. JP here from the Brewing Network. On the show, you've heard us talk about the importance of using the right malts and the freshest ingredients possible when brewing up a batch of beer. As a BJCP judge, I am always impressed when brewers make European beer styles and choose the proper base malts, something that really comes through in the finished product. BSG supplies your favorite local shop with malt from maltsters like Bayerman and Rar. These malts are the real deal for the most authentic beers possible.
BSG, Brewer Supply Group, is the source for quality malts. Crisp, Simpsons, and Patagonia are more of the amazing maltsters BSG brings to you. From pilsners to porters, use the right malts for every style of beer with malt from BSG. BSG, quality malt for a quality beer.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine is the new go-to source for home brewing enthusiasts and anyone passionate about craft beer. Each new issue is full of inspiration, recipes, and techniques for home brewing, cooking and pairing food with beer, and features from craft brewers and the world of craft beer. More than 120 full-color pages of content, quarterly releases, and annual specials. Get practical advice from brewing experts, equipment reviews, great interviews, and much more. There's a new craft beer magazine available right now. Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine on newsstands now. Visit www.beerandbrewing.com. Subscribe now and get your limited edition bottle opener free today. Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine, the new word in craft beer and brewing.
Back to the examination.
All right, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out. This is Dr. Homebrew. And we just got off the phone with Greg. Now we're going to work on John's Kolsch. John is in the studio.
What up?
John, sign in, please. That's when you say hi.
John, what do you have to say for yourself?
I said what up, but that's what's up.
It's like
up?
West Coast talk. Let's talk so the East Coasters can understand us, please, Joe.
Hey,
Hello.
y'all.
Hello.
Well, you come from the East Coast.
Like South Carolina. Hey, y'all. What's up?
There you go.
Yeah, that's fine. So, John, how long have you been brewing?
Unfortunately, 26 years.
Oh, wow.
That is
all terrible beer up until about 7 years ago when I found Mr. Brian Cooper here and the Mad Zymergus and actually learned there's temperature, there's water, there's yeast, there's all these things that are in beer.
There's all sorts of potential places for doing good or doing bad.
Oh, and it got beer got infinitely better from that point forward.
Ah. Isn't it amazing? The smallest little tweaks can actually increase the enjoyment of your beer and your hobby.
Well, and then the whole BJCP program, which I also got involved in, that's an education unto itself.
Right. Yeah.
It's a whole new community, too, yeah.
No, I mean, besides the judging, it made me so much of a better brewer.
So is your beer finitely good now, or is it infinitely good?
It's better.
So it's not infinitely good.
No, it can never be infinitely good.
But it's infinitely better.
Oh, yeah.
That means if it's only finitely good, it must have been infinitely bad before.
You're making my brain hurt, Lee.
Well, yeah.
He is a doctor, John.
Okay.
Dr. John?
Dr. John. Dr. Jean. Anyways, it has nothing to do with anything.
No, it doesn't. But let's dive into this Kolsch. And Lee, since I put Brian on the hot seat last time with Greg, you're up, dude.
All right.
What do you think? What do you think about this?
What do I think about this? It's a Kolsch.
All right, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, there you go. It was a pretty decent Kolsch. The aroma was a bit low. So actually, the main issue with the beer, just right off the bat, is it was kind of flat. It was put in a growler, and it got a little flat in the trip over. That was explained to us, and it's unfortunate, but that does kind of impact.
That's my driving.
It's all Brian's fault.
Yeah, Brian was doing the lane weave the whole way up, I guess, and flattening John's beer up. Low hop aroma, probably because it's a little lacking in CO2. Kind of a sweet tart candy note, some nice Pils malt, some sulfite kind of aroma, not DMS. A little bit of grape aroma, no real off aromas. A little bit of a haze, pale gold color. Didn't really have any head, had a little bit of white bubbles on it. Flavor, Pils malt, some low supporting bittering. A lot of esters. I got peach. I got some kind of red berry and some grape in there. A little bit of spicy hop flavor. The finish got kind of dry, though, and then by the finish you start getting a fair amount of not a fair amount, but a certain amount of sulfur character in it again. The sulfite kind of character. A little bit of lingering malt and esters into the finish. Balances a little bit to the dry side. Also some esters hanging on the finish. Medium-low body, low carbonation, way too low. That's too bad. A little bit of creaminess in there. Not astringent, not hot. That's pretty much it. Really, actually, I thought it was a pretty decent Kolsch. Had some nice ester characters. Obviously, for the fifth time, it could have used more CO2, but that's, okay. We know why that's there. The other thing about it that I thought maybe could have been changed, and again, if it's carbonated up, this might be different, but as presented, I think it was probably not out of style, but a little on the high end on the sulfur character. Normally, I would say this could be a yeast thing for a Kolsch. It could also be a water thing if you did the water treatment. But if you did water treatment or you didn't and you got sulfite water, you might want to throttle that back a bit. If it's a yeast, you might want to make sure it's got a good vigorous ferment so it scrubs out some of the sulfur that these yeasts can put out sometime. Other than that, I think it was pretty decent. I gave it a 31. If it was gassed up, I'd probably give it several points higher. Right?
Thanks for hurting everyone's brain, Lee.
It's my job.
What was your score? Did you say the
31?
score?
31.
Okay.
And several points higher if it was gassed up right.
Yeah. So, being the one that drove John over here and ended up having to do kind of a hard stop when we hit 24, and tipping John's cooler sideways in the back of the car, I tried to forgive the growler, half-filled growler that had some lower carbonation here in my judging of this beer. So, I used my imagination a little bit, but it had a nice low Pils and bready character in the aroma. Clean, not estery, just a hint
of bready, not Bretty.
Bread. Yes,
like the band, yeah.
Like baked goods.
Hints of a little earthy hop in the background, maybe a little spice, but overall low aroma in there. And again, it might be from the CO2 not driving much off. Mm-hmm. You might have gotten a little more with some bubbles pushing all through that beer. I felt like I got a hint of DMS, but I'm kind of second guessing myself on that a little bit because it's got this. It is pretty sulfury, which is an element of DMS, and kind of grainy, and that combination sometimes can come across that way a little bit. But didn't have any acetaldehyde, acetal, or anything like that.
Sulfur is an element of DMS. Or does that mean that
dimethyl sulfide?
It's
the S. Yeah,
the S. It's the S in Demis. So,
yeah.
you can have one without the other, vice versa. Right?
You can have H2S, which is like a rotten egg smell, or you can have other forms of sulfur compounds.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Which a lot of the German waters are high in sulfite.
Mm-hmm. Sulfates, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, but it was really light. It was just a hint of that. But anyway, it had a nice, pretty color-wise, and very clear. It just, didn't really have much of a head going on, and it didn't persist well. Just kind of some some big bubbles around the edge, and that's all you got. And the flavor is pleasantly malty with a nice Pils character, and a not as overly sulfury in the flavor to me as it was in the aroma. The hop bitterness was just enough to balance it. I really like that. Very low esters. This beer, you just want a hint of that kind of fruitiness in there, just to give it almost like you're imagining it. But yeah, it's just there enough to notice it, but not be overt. And I think you treaded that line really well. It kind of walks the line between ales and lagers like that. It's really refreshing and lager-like, but it is an ale technically, or hybrid style. So, pair like esters nicely in check. So finishes semi-dry, no obvious alcohol, clean. Really nicely done with the fermentation on this beer, I would say. And it's smooth overall. In the mouthfeel, it's smooth on the tongue, and it has a little bit of that crispness I want in a Kolsch. It should be, I like the ones that have a little bit of a crisp presentation, and that carbonation will probably give that little snap that you need in it. And it is low, causing the perception of that to suffer a little bit. So it's no astringency, nothing bad. But this beer is right in the right territory you want for a Kolsch. Soft and light, a little bit of crispness, and obviously good ingredients used. You really just need to bump up the carbonation. If there was any DMS, you could make sure you chill your beer quickly, which I'm sure John does after the boil, and make sure you boil it as long as you need to. Especially with that much Pils malt in a recipe, you want to drive that boil for 90 minutes. If there's a lot of Pils malt in a recipe, to get rid of the DMS precursors, the SMMS and that kind of thing. So, nicely done. I give it a 36. Really good beer. Again, that's probably kind of like towards what it would be if it was carbonated right, but it would probably even be higher than that, honestly.
Carbonation, you can't sell it short, right?
No, it means a lot. It means a lot. Makes a big difference.
Big dog. I even scored myself.
It's cheap and it's priceless.
Warren, Mr. Beardy.
Well, Kolsch is one of my favorite styles.
I remember back when.
I remember my first Kolsch.
I'm going to tell you about it now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's been covered already. It was flat. I guess the main thing that I kind of got was just, I thought the bitterness was a bit harsh. And to me, I guess you could smell the sulfur and taste it a little bit, but to me it tasted just like the water was a little out of balance. The sulfur, this extra sulfites was making the bitterness a little harsh. But all the ingredients were good. I liked the Kolsch ester profile. Whatever strain of Kolsch yeast you got, I enjoyed that, and the fermentation was good. Basically my only suggestion would just be maybe messing with the water a little bit.
And don't bring it in a gallon.
Yeah, and
growler.
Also carbonate it.
You need a growlette. So you can
that's good advice for anybody. Don't bring a gallon growler and fill it 1/3 full, because there will be no CO2 left when you get
right.
Yeah, especially after Brian's dry.
Unless it's way overcarbonated to start with, then you don't know what it's going to be.
No, it does make a huge difference in the overall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When we get back to John's garage, I'm gonna pull a pint of this, and we're gonna
and then really figure it out.
We'll call you into the show because you guys will still
I've
be
got
here.
a little tidbit story.
Mm-hmm, sure.
If you
sure
don't mind. So my buddy Jeff Bragg, who's been on your show, just got back from Cologne, Germany, 3 or 4 days prior to meeting up with us on Saturday, and we sat down, and he brought back 6 bottles of Kolsch.
Oh, right from the source, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did a Müller Kolsch, a Gilden Kolsch, a Früh Kolsch, a Scion Kolsch.
Good cars.
Peters, Littenmanschen. That one, Brian might have to help me with that. And then a Gaffel. And we did it side by side with my Kolsch on the back porch, fresh out of the tap. So it was carbonated.
Right.
It made a huge difference. The Mühlen, way fruitier. The Gilden, way hoppier than mine, believe it or not. The Früh, pretty much the same. The Scion had some weird condition issues, and the Goffel comes in a clear bottle, so it was absolutely skunked to the hilt, which was really unusual. And, of course, Jeff, who had just been there, had drank all these sitting at a cafe, right on a plaza. Everything tasted 20% better than when you bring it back.
Right.
But we thought it was really dialed in at the time, and really, I mean, this, not to like just get all hung up on my own beer, but without the carbonation in it, it drops at least 5-6 points. It's terrible this way.
Let that be a lesson to you beer people out there entering in competitions. Make sure your carbonation's dialed in, man.
CO2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a hard beer to get the balance just right, and you've managed to tread that line, and I think it does have a lot of similarities to the Fruit Kolsch. That's just a nicely balanced kind of middle of the road, pleasantly lightly fruity Kolsch without any funky weed or too heavy hops or anything like that. It's just fruity and crisp, lightly fruity and crisp, and it's just
all three of you were generous with your scores, even considering the condition of it at this point. So thank you.
So yeah.
Perhaps over generous? I don't know. We'll see. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I imagine you don't have any questions for the guys, John, but if you do, now's the time to ask them, man. Because you can never ask about this beer ever again off the air. Can't do it.
I don't know. I mean, I've got. I can talk about the recipe. So it's 9 pounds of Continental Pils malt, a half a pound of Vienna. And that's it. I mean, it's a super, super simple recipe. And
do you know what maltster?
The maltster was a German. It was
Weirmann's, or
it doesn't taste.
It might have
like
been Weirmann's for the Vienna. The Continental Pils is Belgian or German is all I get.
Oh, okay.
I use the Weiss Kolsch.
Mm-hmm. That's the best
yeast. Ounce and a half of Hallertauer. Run at about 4% alpha acids. Hit the numbers. I'm actually hitting a little high, so I did hear somebody say it was a little big for the style. I just built my new grain mill, and I actually dropped a half a pound out of this recipe just to dial it in, and I still hit 6 points over because it's so efficient. Points. So I'm still working on that, but it's an interesting kind of play on figuring out your recipes when you get a new mill that's super efficient like
right.
That does change things, yeah. Any water adjustments, John?
I did. I added some. Let's see here. Hold on if I even wrote it down. But I did add some sulfate to the water because I wanted to build that Kolsch, especially in the southern part of the city. They've got a little bit harder water down there, and it's a little bit more sulfury, sulfatey. My buddy Russell, who lives out there, always comments on that, and that's what I wanted to get. So, and I think it gets a little muddied in the loss of CO2 in that too. So, it could have been a combination of things. But I added maybe a gram and a half, not
you know
much,
how many
just
PPMs
a little bit.
You got with that? Did it match up, or
I'd have to really spend some brain time on that, which I don't have much left.
What was the batch size? 5 gallons?
5 gallons, yeah.
Okay, gram into 5 gallons.
That's not much, yeah.
No, it's just enough to boost it. And, I'm in San Ramon, so our water's super neutral. It's good water.
A question came from the chat. What was the fermentation temps you had and the boil length on that?
It was a 90-minute boil. The fermentation temperature was 65 degrees, 67 degrees. I'm sorry, 62 degrees.
Yeah, 67 would be high for that.
Yeah, 62 degrees. Also did a 7-week lagering period on it at 40 degrees.
Yeah.
To really drop it out, let the flavors meld, let them blend. It's getting a little long in the tooth now too, because it's about 4.5, 5 weeks old. So it's losing some of its hop character. It's getting a little bit rounder. A little more fruit is coming forward.
You do want to drink these,
super
fairly fresh, but it's still
fresh.
Yeah.
A little bit of lagering's good for them.
You definitely want to do. I mean, you almost go through everything you go through for a lager.
5 weeks too. Right. They were, 5-6 weeks. They wanted to go for a month and a half.
Like people think, oh well, Kolsch is an ale. I could brew that, and put it in their living room in the corner and have it ferment at 68. And with each degree of that you increase the fermentation temperature, you're going to have like tenfold esters in it. It's just going to be way out.
Okay, well if that's it, All right, then we are going to move on. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we are going to review each of the beers and then award the Grog Tag At Least Your Beer Will Look Good $40 gift certificate. Back after this.
Customize your bottle opener with Collab bottle openers. Choose from a selection of anodized colors to make your new opener really stand out. Personalize a gift with custom engravings or upload your own graphic and get them customized. Collab bottle openers are made right here in the USA. Owners Mike and Nicole knew there had to be a better way to make a bottle opener. After years as a machinist cutting custom suspension wrenches for motocross and mountain bikes, Mike brought that machining expertise to the art of opening a beer. Check out their expansive line of bottle openers, like the Craft Brewer, an opener that doesn't destroy the cap. Or there's the credit card-sized brewer's card that fits right in your wallet, the Micro Brewer keychain opener, or stick a magnet on their Homebrewer version and have a fridge-mounted bottle opener. Give your bottle cap some love with a Collab bottle opener at collabbottleopeners.com.
The Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, welcome back, Dr. Homebrew. Time for the wrap-up, the beer breakdown. Oh, that's a good one. The beer breakdown.
Wrap it up and break it down.
All right, the first guy we had on was Greg, and his beer, his American Pale Ale, a little too sweet.
It was just a little too sweet. I thought it had a lot of redeeming qualities, a nice hoppiness, and wasn't too bitter, wasn't too much towards IPA style, but yeah. That sweetness was the only thing, and it's like sometimes one thing can just throw the balance off, and otherwise really nice beer can be just kind of middle of the road, but it was still very good beer. It scored in a very good range, and I liked it.
All right, Lee?
Yeah. On that one, a little too sweet, a little too rich.
That's about it.
I think if you fix that, it'd actually be a pretty killer pale ale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I kind of agreed. And then John's beer, pretend he's not sitting right next to you guys.
Hurt me.
Go ahead and be honest.
He's not there. John's beer, pretty good Kolsch, actually. I liked it. It was just flat, which kind of killed it some, and probably may have had a little bit too much sulfur. He'd added some of the water, so maybe that was a touch overboard. Be interesting to see if it still seems like that when it's carbonated up, but excuse me, won't have that chance tonight.
No, Cooper.
Brian might, yeah. Anyways, that's what I thought. Pretty good beer, flat, killed it.
All right. And then Warren, as a guest judge, do you have anything to add about those two? Yeah. Oh, are you on? You're on. Why aren't you on? Turn yourself off.
Now I'm on.
That's wife's job, dude.
He's on.
Oh, yep, still on.
All right.
No, they got it.
Okay, great.
Just wanted to make sure everybody knew.
Wow,
Perfect.
Man,
They got it.
Words.
I love it.
The pro brewer among us is just short for words.
Right.
Yeah, I just make it. I don't drink it ever.
I don't even
That's
really
a lie.
like
I've seen you
beer.
drink it.
Oh, but you said you love Kolsch.
There. Okay,
yeah,
so we have a prize to give from grogtag.com. $40 gift certificate to make your own customizable, reusable, awesomeable labels. And I think we have a tie, right? Is that
If you
what I
count just
understand?
Lee's score and mine, we have a tie.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
by our scores, it's a dead
We
tie.
flipped to the 31 and the 36. So
Warren,
What to
33 point.
do?
Warren is the jerk right now and is the
Warren-
tiebreaker,
He is the judge.
Well, if I had to choose,
which you do,
which I do,
right?
should I announce whose beer is better or who wins the award?
Why don't you just give the scores, and then that way you don't sound like such a jerk.
I don't think
that
that's
means I have
not
to
going
flip
to
these
happen.
papers over.
Distance yourself from the impact.
Right.
Right. So I gave the Kolsch that I tried earlier
Right.
a 34,
Okay.
and then I gave the American Pale Ale a 30.
Okay. So that means Greg is the winner of the Grog Tag. At least your beer will look good. $40 gift certificate. Greg, I will be in touch with you because I'm sure you're not listening anymore, and get all your information. Oh, no, I have your email address. I'll just send that stupid thing to you tomorrow.
And John, your beer is going to stay ugly in that.
No, that's
Right.
I think
that
it's
you brought.
brilliant that the loser wins. That's all.
It's
I
pretty
gotta
good,
say.
right?
That's
Yeah.
all I gotta
So,
say.
Everybody wins.
I almost
so-
wish I had brought like a beer I'd left open for an hour.
We would know. So thanks to the guys at Grog Tag. They were very generous in bringing that prize option to
They do
us.
some cool stuff. I like the labels.
They're good folks.
I like
They
the one
show
with
up
the
at meetings.
guy diving upside down, and we got some samples at NHC one year. I shoved them on my keg. I'm just like, oh, that's a cool label.
Yeah, they're cool. They're definitely putting a new spin on labels and caps and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's it. I think we're done. Right? We've cut everyone's beer, and we've tried everyone's beer, and we've judged it, and insulted as many people as possible.
Oh, but everybody gets Star San prize.
That's true.
Right?
They get a prize
So-
pack from 5starchemicals.com. So be sure to find them on various social medias and emails and whatever, and thank them very much for sponsoring this show and other programming here on the Brewing Network. And
At least your beer will be sanitary.
at least your beer will be sanitary, right? So everyone wins. You come on here and you get something.
Nobody goes home empty-handed.
I could
Right.
not live
I like-
without those guys.
Yeah, they're amazing. They've definitely been upping people's scores for a long time in the home brewing world.
Keeping people up.
Right. Okay, everyone, stay tuned. If you're listening live, you will catch another episode of Dr. Homebrew. If you're not listening live, then continue pretending to work until the whistle blows 5 o'clock and you're out of there. Till next time, it's Dr. Homebrew. Thanks, everybody.